This is across the board. This is their reaction to the infrastructure bill. These Republicans didn't think about what they put in motion. Dear God, they have voted for an infrastructure bill. And the reason it's an attack, seriously, Chip, seriously, hold on. This is going to be the running theme of the whole show today. Come here, buddy. Get out of here. Come here. You know, you can't, if you stand on that, the whole thing will fall over, and then we're all in danger, and fire, and death, and sadness, and sorrow, and I love you. What are you doing? I'm fine. Why is it? Okay, but yeah, you got it. I know, you purr every time I pick you up. It's adorable. But give me a second, okay? I'm not going to be that long, and then we'll be back together. All right, here you go. I'm closing the door. His little paw is going to be under the door, and then I'm going to hear violin music because I'm so sad. Critical Chip theory. Totally. Oh, my God. So, this is Laura Ingraham. I don't know if you know her work or whatever. She's a terrorist sympathizer. She's on some Fuck Off Extreme network, I think it's called. It's FOX, which stands for Fuck Off Extreme. Yeah. But her whole thing right here is these Republicans didn't think about what they put in motion. And this is the ones that voted for, I think so. By the way, you know, I don't pre-watch these things. But this is just because the infrastructure bill passed.
House cleaning. That's the focus of tonight's angle.
House cleaning. Get it? That's the house. That's a house. That's a diaper. I'm like the old school Daily Show.
All right, with Joe Biden at 38% average approval rating, now 58% of the country says he has the wrong priorities. And that election loss in Virginia, now one wouldn't think that the mood at the White House would be upbeat, pretty giddy.
Yeah, it's almost as if they realize they're doing tough things that need to be done, and the reaction of the public might be negative at the time, but ultimately it will benefit the public overall. The same thing folks like Laura screamed at, people like Bill Clinton over that ended up giving us a surplus.
It's all smiles today after the early Saturday passage of that $1.2 trillion phony infrastructure bill. Now, remember, only part of it is hard infrastructure.
Sorry, phony. I'm sorry, how much of it? Wait, 1 second. How much of it? Oh, sorry, this guy. Why is it not? Why won't you jump back? What's happening? Maybe it is.
The rest is the typical wasteful. Now, remember, only part of it is hard infrastructure. The rest is the typical wasteful Washington garbage with a socialist bent.
With a socialist bent. It cocks its hat in a socialist kind of a way. That whole socialist thing about people voting in the leaders that they want and those leaders going about exercising their political priorities using tax dollars to pay for projects that better the country, but like commie.
For Biden's boy wonder transportation secretary, though, it's really totally awesome.
Oh, my God. Can you hear that? Chip, what is it? He's crying under the door. Oh, my God.
When our communications team presents me with copy, I usually cross out the word excited because I think it's overused, and I often rub out the exclamation points because it's not always my style, but we are excited with an exclamation point about what we're going to be able to deliver.
Now, it sounds like Pete's got his campaign commercial going for his 2024 presidential run.
That's why would he have to run? Laura, we're turning into a communist country. The party gets together, the PLA stands outside and makes sure no one, gets involved. It's just the same way they pick a pope. What run?
It is. And let's face it, the Democrats are going to be wiped out in 2022 because the generic ballot now has Republicans at +8, if you can believe it. Now, by historical comparison, let me translate how ugly this really is. In 2010, Republicans won by 6.8 points and picked up 63 seats
Yeah, if only it wasn't a year away.
in the House. Wow. So just when Pelosi and Biden really needed a win, well, it came courtesy of the Republicans.
This was a bipartisan action. 13 House Republicans broke ranks with party leadership.
The House finally passed the $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill. 6 Democrats voting against it and 13 Republicans bucking their party leadership.
It was 12 men and 1 woman.
Which is, and you need to know that, by the way. It's if you don't know, the votes are tallied differently if you're male or female. It's a big social justice warrior thing, I think.
Maliotokis from conservative Staten Island, who pushed the bill over the top.
Roads and bridges and tunnels and ports. I'm happy to have joined.
By the way, none of those votes in the count counted more than any of the other votes in that count. That's how voting works. But it's interesting that Laura picked the woman. Isn't that curious to you? Does that stand out? I mean, I know they hate Kitzinger, but it's
Colleagues to support it.
Sorry, triggered my dance music.
My district in particular, I mean, the money in there can be used for all sorts of projects, and I look forward to working with my local legislators to identify what priorities we're going to unite on.
First off, the Congresswoman is not going to have much of a say in how any of this money is spent. Nice dreaming, though. The Biden cabinet is going to be making a lot of the big calls. And secondly,
yeah, broad based on the law, but in the law itself allows for discretionary funding because the city managers in the mayor's office in a big city, for example, or the state itself knows what they're working on. They're getting this money to fix their shit. No one is saying the Biden administration is just going to put a bridge over Wyoming. Just fuck it off entirely. But we wanted to fix... No. All the money goes... Nobody needs to drive through Wyoming anymore. It's just a big... And the bridge isn't even for cars. It's for moose.
She conveniently leaves out that the bill is laden with progressive pork, and it lays the groundwork for...
Like what? Why'd you put a picture of her up and not a list of the pork? Maybe she will. Let's see.
All the climate change craziness to come. $7.5 billion is going to go to electric vehicle charging stations.
Elective vehicles, in case you elect to have a vehicle at some point in your life. This is a far left wish list. By the way, let's see. Try to do this in here. And slide this over here. And then we go into, let's see. Whoops, why is it not? Wake up, keyboard, there we go. Oh, that's what's happening. I see. There seems to be some issue with my keyboard. One moment. There we go. Hopefully that does it. Wake it up. Nope. Just blinking away. All right. Well, that's fine. I'll just live with that. Shall I? Let's see. Nope. Good times. Yeah. This seems to be connected. All right. Very strange. All right, so I can't type anything right now. Well, the thing I was going to bring up is that gas stations across the country and the entire oil and gas infrastructure of the country has been subsidized by the federal government forever. The reason why all 1950s horror films start with somebody running out of gas, the reason why the Thriller video has a throwback storyline of the car running out of gas in the middle of nowhere as a tip of the hat to old horror films is because we didn't have enough gas stations in the whole fucking country and people would run out of gas all the time. So the government, because the interstate travel system was going to benefit everybody, and it sure as shit did, the government subsidized putting gas stations everywhere. Why is this different? But here you go.
$5 billion for electric school buses.
Why? And but again, why is that far left?
$1 billion for ripping up racist highways. And that,
Well, look, if you have a highway near you that is yelling racial epithets, I'd say it's got to go.
that's just a drop in the bucket. It's much.
Well, then spend the rest of the show talking about it, dummy. What the fuck are you talking about? $1 billion for ripping up racist highways? You mean renaming them? When they, like, whatever, the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan Freeway?
Or after that.
Oh, and by the way, what they mean is, like, some highways, when they're going to fix them, have edged into certain communities over others, so that, and there's enough land there where they can kind of balance it out. They're going to do that. I guess that's what she's talking about. I mean, I think there should be an asterisk next to racist highway.
No wonder that dim-witted anti-Trump menace Adam Kinzinger ended up supporting it. Now, none of them thought for a second about what it is they're actually putting in motion.
Yeah, think about this. Communism. Karl Marx himself, in between writing a paper about the Jewish problem, I think it was called, or the Jewish question, and using the N-word a lot because he thought some races were sub-mongrel. In between those things, writing his super left-wing, I mean, maybe there's a Karl Marx highway and they're changing the name on it, and that's part of the bill. We'll get to it later. During that time, he wrote the Infrastructure Manifesto.
They just thought about
roads are bourgeoisie.
Bringing the bacon back home. The leader of the moderates, John Katko, is particularly odious. But what could we expect from a grandstanding blowhard who voted to impeach Trump over January 6th?
Over January 6th? Why would he do that? I mean, isn't that the purpose of our federal system of government, to allow nutcases from all over the country, if they're, make disloyal assholes pile on top of each other and beat up cops, and if the guy who was in charge said, let's all go down there, sits there with a smash rag in his hand, staring at the TV as it happens, I don't know anybody would react negatively to that.
Now, just as the Capitol Police protected us, Congress must match that courage and protect the Constitution, our democratic processes, and this nation. The president's role in this insurrection is undeniable.
John Katko is being primaried. Good. By the way, please don't anyone get upset or take Laura Ingraham seriously. By the way, they rest in the comforting embrace that as much as she wants to matter as much as Hannity and Tucker, Republicans refuse to take women seriously. They are always a sidecar, and they just put them up basically so that they can go, see, we got one.
Well, since then, Katko's been a dead man walking in conservative politics.
Yeah, the worst thing, I mean, honestly, that's a bridge you just don't want to cross. Oh.
Months ago, the powerful conservative party of Onondaga County said it would not...
Of Onondaga County? Say that again. What the hell?
...back Katko's re-election.
No.
And he already has his first primary challenger. I love that. Good.
Yeah, sure it'll be great. By the way, Republican on Republican crime, I don't care.
At least 3 out of the 13 washout GOP congressmen have already announced their retirement. Get out the door. Well, good, because each and every one of them either didn't read the entire bill, which is a dereliction of duty, or they did read it and just ignored its most egregious provisions, which frankly is worse than a dereliction of duty.
Which would be the egregious ones? Oh, they're never tear up a racist highway.
A particularly lame Pelosi-inspired justification for supporting it came from Congressman David McKinley from West Virginia.
Dear God. Wait a minute. West Virginia has Republicans that don't vote with Republicans? What's next? A Democrat that doesn't normally vote with Democrats? What the kind of hellscape is West Virginia?
Remember, it's for the children. He said, we've all heard stories of children in West Virginia sitting in parking lots to do their schoolwork because their homes are not connected to reliable broadband.
What I tell ya, broadband, nothing but broadband.
Tonight, I voted for those kids.
Voted for that broadband, for those businesses and those people who want to trade stocks live in your state and they don't want to move to New York and yeah.
Oh, really, David? After watching the Democrats
oh, really, David? Basically, Laura, why did you put that graphic back up? A, it's not that good, and you could have just put up a graphic that said, fuck kids.
Destroy West Virginia's coal industry as China's roars ahead.
As China's roars ahead. You know, you do realize that's not a good thing, right?
Trust the Democrats to take care of the children in West Virginia? What?
Well, no, they don't run. I don't know if you know this, but the substructure of the internet, while it was created by a government program, something is a really communist thing that a Department of Communism, the Department of Marxism, Department of Defense, that's what it was. I was way off. While that was ran across the entire country, it was obviously threaded to the biggest communication centers, the Wall Street, Chicago, Los Angeles and San Francisco, Cupertino, Seattle, ports, that kind of stuff. It was pretty wide, but there were a lot of areas where they just didn't bother because they were either inland and protected and it wasn't necessary, and they had other ways of communicating that they didn't lay down the good wiring, and now they're going to.
Planet is he living on? The fact
Planet West Virginia, which is a very strange place. Yeah. I'm just saying, if the farmer offers you to sleep in the barn or sleep with his beautiful daughter, choose the barn. Otherwise, you'll be a punchline. I've just heard this story too many times.
these 13 House Republicans are trusting Biden's cabinet secretaries to spend this gargantuan sum of money, do it wisely, when the smart move would have been to wait to pass a clean infrastructure bill until the Republicans take
a clean infrastructure bill? What kind of commie shit is that? Clean infrastructure? What are you, AOC now?
back the House next year. Unless that is.
Why would that happen? You fuckers had the House, the Senate, and the presidency. You didn't pass it. What are you talking about?
You trust Energy Secretary Granholm to focus on common sense solutions to skyrocketing energy prices.
Is the Granholm plan to increase oil production in America?
Oh my God, that is hilarious. Would that I had the magic wand on this.
Should America?
Right, that there's some sort of Granholm plan that she can do anything. What's the Granholm plan? She's not laughing at rising oil prices. She's laughing at the idea that somehow she's got magic powers.
In what will likely be a cold winter, most of them are, expect to pay higher prices for heating their homes?
Yeah, this is going to happen. Oil and gas companies are not flipping the switch as quickly as the demand requires.
Oh my God.
What? Sorry, Laura. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that for some odd reason, it seems to me, and call me crazy, but it seems to me like that was edited to make like an entirely different series of sentences.
Oil and gas companies are not flipping the switch as quickly as the demand requires.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh dear God. Hold on, let's go to the whole thing. I want to see what this whole piece was. Look at there's 3 half sentences in a row.
What will likely be a cold winter, most of them are, expect to pay higher prices for heating their homes?
Yeah, this is going to happen. Oil and gas companies are not flipping the switch as quickly as the demand requires.
Oh my God, is there any more idiotic person who's ever been a cabinet member? I think.
Oh my God, it's so funny. It's weird if you like cut out the entirety of what she's actually saying and get like tail ends of sentences and create your own flash edits and hope your people don't Is there anyone dumber than would believe the context of a highly edited cut? By the way, that's why I, here at Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide, use the entirety of the clip that these assholes post. I don't cut them apart. I'll cut into them a little bit. That's for sure. I'll stop them for a second and mention some shit and make a few jokes and some silly faces. But I'm damn sure not taking what she said, cutting an entire 20-minute interview, or in the case of the one on CNN, a 7-minute segment, and cutting it into 2 half sentences.
What we demand, Madam Secretary, is an energy secretary confident enough to answer basic questions, not a 10-watt.
She did. She did. She's just not willing to lie like Trump did. It's going to come down even better than they've come down before. No one's seen these kind of things, and I'm bringing them down. They're already down. I don't even know if you know that they've already been down, and you are fake news.
Pretending to be a spotlight. Again, this is the party with zero solutions. They only
Zero solutions? They just passed an infrastructure bill.
Exacerbate problems. And every GOP vote for this.
Yeah, see, folks, you don't know this. Your shitty broadband out in your rural communities, that's a feature, not a bug. That's a plus. You don't want to be hooked up to the internet. You don't want good streaming. You don't want to be able to start your own show and compete with her show from rural West Virginia. It's better this way. I know you feel scared driving across that bridge, but that's to make you realize how precious life is. They fix that bridge, you're just going to drive straight across it, go right to a Starbucks, get a beverage, and go home without ever fearing for your life. Now, what kind of a life is that?
Which is the companion bill to the next even worse social spending bill, ensures that current inflation lasts longer and energy prices go even higher.
All right, explain how. I'm very excited. Please tell me how Build Back Better or this one make sure that energy prices stay higher. Other than the fact that as we move towards electric vehicles and they, increase their reach and people enjoy them more, that buying gas will be a thing of the past and getting gas at places will be a little more expensive because it's a unique item.
Now, currently, the White House has zero plans to keep the latter from soaring out of control.
Could you just lay out what those other options are that he's considering? So I don't have anything specific here. The president spoke to this recently, but he's also asked FTC to crack down on illegal pricing. But also we're going to continue to monitor the situation and have a number of tools in our arsenal. As I just mentioned, I don't have anything specific.
Monitoring the situation. That's always my...
Yeah, suggest something. We just came out of COVID. Things are like factories are just restarting and then they're stopping because other countries are having huge outbreaks and they're operating in fits and starts. We rely too much on those countries, China specifically, which you didn't seem to mind until they, until the perfect storm of Trump being a moron. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. That say yes to narrowband, right? They didn't mind all the cheap goods we were getting from China until Trump started bitching about it. I don't see her why don't you here put up a picture of Walmart? I mean, you hate Bezos, go after drop shipping on from China because that's why the supply chain is so choked up. It's a corporate problem. Simply is. By the way, if the government steps in and sets prices, that's a step towards communism. Just saying.
Favorite answer. Now, what you all have to understand here, and the phony infrastructure Republicans don't seem to get.
Listen to it. Yeah, this is the... Hold on. Let's hear it.
Is that rising energy costs are a key part of the Democrats' agenda. They want costs to go up because they want to build back greener, even though it's going to mean that many Republicans will be forced to choose what? Many Americans are going to be forced to choose heat or food this winter.
No. No, they will not. I mean, never mind the fact that we passed a $1.9 trillion rescue package, which still has funds available in it. No one is going to be eating cat food because because gas is too expensive.
Affordable energy means that Americans need less government and have more freedom. They can.
By the way, most of the energy changes, including more nuclear plants that are in the infrastructure bill and in the Build Back Better plan, phase in over decades.
Have more freedom to do what they want, to go where they want, wherever they want. But
whenever they want, on whoever they want, under whatever they want, whenever they want to want, whatever they want, and what they thought, you can't always get what you want. Everything should be free. Communist.
Pricier gasoline, airline, and train tickets become, the less freedom you have. And they're totally fine with that.
By the way, this is a bunch of leftist bullshit, I would like to say for the record.
Now, somehow the president's chief of staff, Ron Klain, he believes that Tuesday's election losses demonstrate that voters want more spending.
I do think the voters sent a message on Tuesday. They wanted to see more action in Washington. They wanted to see things move more quickly. And 3 days later, Congress responded, passing the president's infrastructure bill.
Well, a new
survey
out by CNN shows the main concern for voters isn't infrastructure. It's not equity. It's not racial justice issues either.
What do Americans think are the biggest issues that he should be focused on right now?
It is the economy. 36% of Americans say the economy is the most important, compared to 20% who say coronavirus. That's now the second issue.
Well, the economy is linked with the supply.
By the way, so we're just going to buzz right past the fact that Fox News doesn't give a rat fuck about COVID.
Chain problems, the inflation and energy costs. By driving our nation further into debt with spending, well, things are only going to get worse.
These are investments, actually. If you have a company, you will benefit from better broadband. If you're a company, you will benefit from better roads. If you're a company, you'll lower energy costs long term because you're using renewables, for example, or you have tax credits to get you past those points. It will also do that. Yes. So,
of course, selling you out in the House wouldn't have been possible, though, if 19 Republican senators didn't sell you out in the Senate first. From Mitch McConnell to Mitt Romney, the old establishment decided to grab a piece of the pie. One report notes that Mitch's state of Kentucky can expect to...
By the way, I'm not going to interrupt her shitting on Republicans. She's completely a lunatic, but we'll just let them kick each other. I have no reason to stop this.
Receive more than $5 billion from the federal package. Again, as long as they get their piece, they'll just ignore the fact that it provides the momentum for the Build Back Better bill, which will cost an estimated $4 trillion. No wonder the far left is ecstatic in anticipation.
It is a human infrastructure bill. It's transformational. The child tax credit. When we think about $400 billion for that climate change, $555 billion there, $150 billion in housing.
Now, the idea that Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema are going to hold the line for sanity because the GOP in the Senate and the House gave them a slice of infrastructure?
By the way, I don't know that we should jump on, I don't want to interfere in this part either.
Highly unlikely. Every once in a while, we get big think pieces in the media about why populism continues to be so powerful in much of the.
That's right. And by the way, thank God we have a counterpoint to big think pieces with Laura Ingraham's show. The opposite of a think piece.
And why GOP voters continue to press for major change. The complete inability.
Yes, they all run on change.
GOP leadership to hold the line, to do what they were elected to do, and block over $1 trillion in wasteful spending that's going to lead to more inflation, is a classic example of why populism will continue to grow.
Yes. I mean, you can't. The one thing that populism that really drives it is improving roads, bridges, the expansion. I mean, I would argue that in some ways she's right. In one way, certainly in the expansion of broadband and the impressive download and upload speeds available to people once they are given better internet across this country, it certainly as shit would be easier to download QAnon videos. Right? I mean, Mom, come over here. This QAnon thread is just blazing. Holy shit, I can barely keep up with the memes.
Establishment won this round, but their time is running out. Americans are not going to sacrifice their living standards to keep the Democrats and their GOP allies in power.
Well, those people didn't vote for the BBB, and they're not going to. There's no expectation that they're going to. Which means you're just being an asshole for no purpose at all. Oh, that's your show, right?
We saw last week in Virginia and New Jersey that change is coming. And the more harm the establishment does to the economy, the faster and stronger that change is going to be. And that's
yes, it's Laura Ingraham, the new Susan Sarandon.
Angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey,
Sean Hannity here. Hey.